is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm John Buhler, staff writer, fansided.com. I'm joined today by a man who is more than a bird, more than a plane, a man who is more group of five for fighting than Spencer Danielson, John Ondrasik, and Ty Domi combined. It's not easy to be meat sleeves on this podcast. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. How the hell are you?
I'm 15 for a moment, brother. We're here. We're ready to go. Group of five for fighting. We have arrived at honestly, I'm an ACC guy at heart, Carolina fan, but if you know anything about me, the group of five is where my heart's actually at. Like I want these sickos games. Give me the bottom of the Sun Belt. Give me the bottom of the MAC. That's what I'm here for.
You only got 100 years to live, but there's plenty of time to really dive into the group of five here for the penultimate part of our college preview. Yes, we'll be doing this today. On Thursday, we'll kind of go a bit more macro with our 12-team playoff brackets, our Heisman ballots, who's getting to New York, what coordinators or lesser coaches will be moving up, and a bunch of other stuff, including Antonio Banderas both week and a revamped version of Just Like Novocaine. But we're going to stick to
Yeah,
the old
baby.
one today with a trifecta of Phil Collins, Solo, Genesis, and Tarzan. Let's go.
I mean, look, if there's one person we're going to do the trifecta with, if we're going to go out with a bang before we do tweak the format a little bit for the season, we got to go big and we got to go Phil Collins. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's all because he was in Balto.
Look, oh my God. Speaking of wild things, and also speaking of your shirt. So last night, Sunday night baseball ends. I still had to work until midnight Eastern. And I'm like, okay, what do I watch? And I'm flipping through the streaming channels. I found Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze from 1991 on Paramount
Yes.
Plus. So I threw that on. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this movie like while I'm working, not paying full attention. But I realized that I've never looked up who the voices of the Ninja Turtles are. It's like, are any of these like famous people? Turns out the dude who does the voice of Michelangelo in like the 90s Ninja Turtle movies is the same dude who played Cousin Oliver on Brady Bunch. Like this is like what a rabbit hole I went down to find this out, but like my God, what a world we're living in.
Cousin Oliver, he's lemon pepper wet. He's ATL.
That's right. ATL shoddy.
Obviously, we have false started a little bit here, but we're going to keep going and we're going to move on to our first and 15 with definitely maybe our
Yeah.
picks to reach each group of five championship. And by default, these teams definitely maybe might be good. Also, did you see that about Oasis? They're coming back, dude.
Yes. I mean, there was definitely a part of me that was like, should we do a live show from the Oasis concert next year? Because I think that might be kind of our vibe.
The Arizona State podcast, because we're planning like a big trip in Europe in like spring 26. It's like, do you want to see a show at Wembley? I'm like, I mean, if Oasis is there, yes. I mean, I can imagine. So these brothers are like they fight all the time. I think Noel's what 5 years older than Liam. They fight all the time, and I think it was like they came together over the power of the hate of the Swifties, and they're like, "Piss off, you Swiftie."
Piss off, you Swifties. But the other, like, let's be real about it. With how much they fight, with the history of Oasis, there's still only like a 40% chance that this concert actually happens. Like, there's a higher percentage chance that they break up again before they get this show done.
They got to be in like their mid 50s, or Noel's probably pushing 60 at this point. Could you imagine if like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards had this kind of toxic relationship?
Honestly, it would make the Rolling Stones a lot more interesting to me personally.
What would be really funny is if the late Malcolm Young and Angus Young really hated each other, just a bunch of 5'2", 100-pound Australians just fighting each other.
That's AEW wrestling. Shouts to our boy Scott Rook.
Dude, that's rolling squeak, dude. Okay,
uh,
we're gonna respect the group of five now. So let's start with I'll let you start. Let's go with the American. Who do you have
mhm.
playing for the AAC championship?
So I have Memphis over USF. And honestly, I think Memphis is pretty much the clear choice to win this conference. Like I know we see some calamity in the group of five every year, but Memphis just looks like a better team. We know that this program has been humming under multiple head coaches, and they've still been top upper echelon of the American, and now the conference is weaker. Like I suspect Tulane is the second favorite in this conference if you look at the odds board. I'm not I'm not quite there. Like I think we think John Summerall is a great coach, but I'm not sure that all the losses they incurred and a coaching turnover from Willie Fritz, like we don't know what John Summerall is going to look like at Tulane. So I'm a little worried about Tulane. I'm not so much worried about USF. Like we're super high on Byron Brown. We're super high on Alex Galesh. Like I think this is a team that's really primed to take a step up. I think that they're still a tier below Memphis, but I think they can get to the AAC championship game.
I'm right there with you with having Memphis winning. I had them playing UTSA with the
Mm.
prodigy Jeff Traylor. As I was looking through with the American, there's clearly four teams that are like a cut above, and you said it's
Mhm.
Memphis is clearly one, and then two through four you can argue in some capacity UTSA, South Florida, or Tulane.
Yep.
Uh, USF, I believe, has a little bit of a harder schedule, but obviously UTSA they lost Frank Harris. Obviously, Tulane, they've Willie Fritz has gone to Houston and John Summerall's come over from Troy. So yeah, I think with Ryan Silverfield, we'll probably talk about him here in a little bit. I think
Mhm.
it's Ryan or Seth Hannigan, Hannigan, the quarterback. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Paxton Lynch you have at home, he's probably better than him, to be honest with you.
I mean, not a high bar to clear, but yeah, probably better than Paxton Lynch.
But like Memphis should be like in the Big 12. Like it's like them and South
Mhm.
Florida should just both go to the Big 12. It's pretty obvious. I feel that like this conference is good. Maybe this will be a team that could be contention for the group of five. But
Mhm.
like, yeah, Memphis is definitely the clear winner there. I also feel that Army and Rice could be interesting. The Army is now in
Mm.
the American, and then obviously Rice has Mike Bloomgren, the former special sauce there at Stanford. But yeah, it's kind of slim pickings there towards the top of the American. But man, losing like SMU, obviously losing Houston, Cincy, UCF last couple of years, league's taking a beating.
Yeah, it's definitely taking a beating. And like the more I looked at some of these other group of five leagues, like it seems like they're strengthening their position, whereas the AAC is not so much doing that at this point.
Yeah, I kind of agree with there. Let's move on to last year's winner of the group of five with Conference USA and CUSA. Who do you have playing in the championship for that league?
Yeah, give me the newcomers, man. I've got Liberty over Jacksonville State. Like I think that Liberty, Jamey Chadwell, like they are heavy favorites and for a good reason, man. This team is better than CUSA. That's just kind of what it boils down to. The CUSA like of these leagues, CUSA might be the worst group of five league if we're being real honest about it. And I still enjoy it. Still good football. I still enjoy watching it, but like there is a very clear delineation between Liberty and the rest of this conference. And then on the flip side of that, like get Jacksonville State getting there. We saw them have a phenomenal season under Rich Rod last year. I just think Rich Rod's a good coach, man. Like I understand that he's had his bumps and bruises along the way, and deservedly so. Like he brought them on himself, but at the same time, like he's won at most of the stops that he's had, and particularly when he's at this level where he's not like in the national spotlight at like a Michigan or something like that, he has really, really thrived, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon at Jacksonville State.
I consider Jacksonville State. I don't know if they're eligible for it, but like that team's really good. But for all intents and purposes, like they're certainly on the upper part there. I have Liberty over Western Kentucky. Liberty could go undefeated. If they beat App State,
Mhm.
the schedule is pretty navigable. Obviously, Jamey Chadwell should be coaching P4. Caden Salter was a P4 quarterback at one point. With Western Kentucky, Tyson Hilton, Clay Hilton's brother, has really kind of kept WKU rolling there under different regimes. I think it's really WKU has been really good since Jack Harbaugh was their coach back in the early 2000s. But then again, Liberty is just inevitable right now. I think that they are clearly a step above everybody else in CUSA. And I
Mhm.
guess the other two I want to mention is FIU could be interesting with Dale Pitbull.
Dude, Pitbull Stadium. We can't rule out the home field advantage.
Mike McIntyre is a pretty good coach at this level. We saw what he did at San Jose State.
Yeah.
It did win that one year at Colorado. And then New Mexico State with Tony Sanchez. So no Jerry Kill, no Diego Pavia. It'll be interesting to see how far back they pull.
Yeah. And they lost a lot beyond Diego Pavia too. Like a lot of guys, just when Kill left, they just hit the portal and went to other G5 programs. So I I suspect that New Mexico State will take a pretty sizable step back. But again, like they were up in this at the mix of the top of the conference last year. So, who's to say that they can't get back there even a little bit? But I think there's a lot working against them. Because also like Yeri Kill is our guy. Like that's our
Yeah,
boy. So I think that loss is going to be felt.
I agree as well. Let's move on to the Mac. This one's a little bit interesting, but also like I don't care, but we'll still talk about it.
Yeah, so shocking no one. I have Toledo nowhere near my championship game, and I have Bowling Green over Miami, Ohio. Um,
Ooh, okay.
so Bowling Green is returning a lot of production from last year. We saw Bowling Green like they were supposed to be one of the worst group of five teams in the country last year, and they were in a fight for bowl eligibility. They beat Georgia Tech at the beginning of last year. People forget that. And now they're returning all of that experience. They improved throughout the entire year last year. I think Bowling Green is really live, especially when you look across the conference. Like you look at Ohio losing a Curtis Rourke, losing like the heartbeat of the program. Same with Toledo. Like I understand that Toledo has a talent advantage in the MAC, but you lose a player like DeQuan Finn, that's going to be hard. Like when DeQuan Finn was hurt last year, Toledo was a completely different team. We know that I'm not very high on Jason Candle. And so like as he navigates that transition period at quarterback, losing one of the best players in Toledo history in DeQuan Finn, I worry that they're going to take a step back. And that's not even necessarily a big Jason Candle take. I think it's more of a DeQuan Finn take.
Yeah, if they would have retained DeQuan Finn, they would have been my clear pick to
Mhm.
win. But right now, I've got Miami, Ohio over Toledo. I considered Bowling Green. I think Chuck Martin just kind of has that thing humming. Won it
Yes.
last year. It'll be a repeat. Obviously, these are probably the two most well-resourced programs in
Yeah.
the MAC right now. So I guess his Gabbert's brother still playing for the Red Hawks. Might as well.
I think he might have graduated, but I'm not sure. Hold on. We'll go deep in this.
I'm a big fan of Chuck Martin. He was the guy wearing the pirate flag, the first guy playing a bowl game after Mike Leach passed away. I'm all about Chuck Martin.
Oh, Blaine's brother is coming back for year six, baby. Super senior season. Let's go.
Perfect. Yes. Miami, Ohio could conceivably win the group of five. They do have a very tough non-conference schedule. I think they're probably looking like a 10-2 team, but like a very
Mhm.
solid one. And again, I think they would definitely might maybe be good as well. Bowling Green, I considered that too. Scott Leffler has really got that program humming. They've got a really awesome tight end I'm going to talk about here in a minute. I think other teams, I had Northern Illinois on this list for some reason. Ohio U is kind of inevitable. Western Michigan, obviously with Lance Taylor now in year two coming over from Louisville,
Mhm.
maybe they could see a WMU really trend up there. But okay, kind of picking the same sort of teams here across the board. Let's go down to probably the most exciting one, or one of the most exciting ones, Mountain West. Who do you got winning that league?
Yeah, it should be the most exciting. However, this is my most boring pick. It's Boise State over UNLV. The two favorites making the championship game and Boise State coming out on top. When I look at this Boise State team, I'm not sure that Spencer Danielson is a good coach. I'm not sure it's a good hire. That's something we talked about all offseason. But at the end of the day, I think this team's just better than everyone else in the conference. Like I think they just have a talent advantage. We're going to talk about draft prospects in a little bit out of the group of five. They have the best draft prospect in the group of five. Not
Yes.
no, with no question about it. And like there is no one in this conference who can match the talent level that they have, both in the trenches, at the skill positions, on the defensive side of the ball, where Spencer Danielson is like that's his specialty on that side of the ball. I just think that this Boise State team is going to be ready to just kind of run amok against this conference. Like I just don't think that I don't think Boise State's going to have a stranglehold on it for every year. Like we see the turnover in the Mountain West all the time, but I just think that they are clearly the best team this year.
I think that, yeah, I've got Boise State over UNLV as well. Questioning about Spencer Danielson, did not like the promotion from within. Hated that they lost Bush Honda to Kentucky. I think that's going to pull back. And then
Mhm.
draft prospect, I don't think it's Maddox Madsen. I don't think.
No, no, it's definitely not. No, it's a dude who's going to be toting the rock there a little bit.
Yes, yes. Maddox Madsen looking like a Will Zalatoris there, and Billy Madison just so blonde.
It's definitely not Malachi Nelson either. I can assure you of that.
No, man. Yeah, I really like UNLV. I think losing Jade Maeva to USC hurts the Rebels a little bit. Love Barry Odom. He's way too overqualified to be coaching there.
Mhm.
I think across the league, Fresno State will be interesting without Jeff Tedford. Colorado State seems to be trending up under Jay Norvell. Obviously, Air Force with Troy Calhoun's inevitable. There is like a
Yes.
9-3 ceiling there. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors might be a lot of fun with Timmy Chang. That's something with the new stadium. The vibes are absolutely tremendous there. And Manoa, Honolulu. I guess Manoa is like a Honolulu suburb, but yeah, things are going up there
Yeah.
for Hawaii. Yes.
No, no, Hawaii's definitely trending up. I'm worried that they're not quite there yet after they were tied at halftime to a Delaware State team that was they were Hawaii was a 40-point favorite against. So not quite sure that they're there yet. But I do think Hawaii is definitely trending up. I think one thing that it's definitely very clear that we saw in week zero, and like not trying to overreact to week zero, but I do think the bottom of the Mountain West might be a little bit stronger than we thought. Like we watched Nevada push SMU to the brink, and like yes, I personally believe that has something to do with SMU. And I know you were much higher on SMU when we did our ACC preview, but I also think it has a lot to do with Nevada. I think Nevada is much improved. They were running an offense that was very creative, very gimmicky, which when you're at a talent disadvantage like Nevada is going to be in a lot of games this year, that's kind of what you have to do. So it does seem like they are trending like up at least a little bit.
Yeah, I was sweating in the bed, not just because I sweat in my sleep, but yeah, I was getting a little nervous there about SMU. But yeah, Nevada Wolfpack looked a lot better there under Jeff Choate. It's amazing what happens when you actually have a good coach. Because I think was it Kevin Wilson? I think was the previous successor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Yeah,
Not good. No, I mean, and I've always felt bad for Nevada because I mean they got left high and dry before Kevin Wilson, and so it was they were left kind of just picking up the pieces. But yeah, it seems like Jeff Choate is the guy to actually pick up the pieces, not just like look at them and say someone should probably pick this S up.
I don't know if Nevada's playing Colorado State, but they absolutely hate Jay Norvell. That should be an awesome rivalry game. That would be
Oh
yes.
yeah, oh my God.
And then finally, we are going to move on to probably just the most fun out there. Anything could happen. Sun Belt. Who do you have winning that league?
Yeah, this is my least confident of these. Like, I think I went through the first four of the group of five and I was very confident. This one, not so much. But I went Texas State. I know I made a joke about them last week making the, college football playoff, but I have them beating App State in this league. It's really like you look at like the top five teams in this conference, and nothing you could say would surprise me, I think. Like, I think these top five teams are like absolutely in the mix. You talk about a coastal, and like I think that the Sun Belt has, like, for the past few years, arguably been the strongest G5 league. But I think that that's actually going to hurt them in the 12-team playoff conversation. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, like which teams can make this. But I think that the Sun Belt strength is actually going to hurt them because I think there's just going to be a lot of what am I like infighting between the conference. Like I think like the best teams are going to beat the best teams in that conference, and it's going to cause a drop off because of that.
Exactly. I had the same too. I've got Texas State over App State. I think obviously GJ Kinney, very high on a big peer of ours, obviously getting Jordan McLeod to come over and transfer in conference, which is huge. And then you kind of mentioned, I think you mentioned Coastal, but I had like three other teams that I think are in consideration. James Madison, they'll pull
Hmm.
back. We like Bob Chesney. This may be a transitional year. Same with Troy there with Jared Parker coming over there from Notre Dame. And then Marshall could be really good with Charles Huff there. I think that
Hmm.
Marshall's a very sneaky good team. Again, they left CUSA to go to Sunbelt. But yeah, Sunbelt's going to be a lot of fun. The 12-team playoff is going to serve them in the end. But again, I feel like they don't necessarily have that definitive number one with a bullet team right now to get to the the playoff, so to speak, right now.
No, agreed completely. Like, I think that's definitely I don't if you're viewing the Sun Belt differently, I would love to talk to you because I don't see how you view it any other way than that.
It's not the Sun Belt, it's the moon. It's the moon
The moon
without
suspenders.
the moon. Just the moon. We don't wear belts. Are you kidding me? We'll kind of get a little more about the playoffs in a little bit, but we're going to go to one of the more fun segments. Again, with the group of five, we're not going to be mean. We're going to celebrate what's going on here with he gone eventually. So Cody and I picked five head coaches that we think could make the move up to a bigger job. I also picked a sleeper. You might be able to rattle one off too. So this
Mhm.
is kind of because like none of these people are going to like. There's no Heisman candidates out of the group of five. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, I mean, in theory there could be, but I don't quite see it.
No, for sure. My first pick for Hegon eventually, that would be Liberty Flames head coach Jamey Chadwell. That feels inevitable. I feel that he's going to go to either your school or South Carolina. That feels very, very, very likely.
No, that's my number one too. And selfishly, I'm hoping he goes to Chapel Hill, obviously. Like I think he'd be a phenomenal fit there. I think he'd be a phenomenal program builder in the wake of Mac Brown. But wherever he goes, even if it's not either of the Carolina schools, like I just think Jamey Chadwell, he's won it. He's done nothing but win as a college football coach. And sometimes it's just that simple. A guy knows how to win. Like we look at a Kalen DeBoer. Like when I try to like doubt Kalen DeBoer and thinking about him in Alabama, the thing I keep coming back to is where has he not won? Like he's won at every single stop that he's been at. And Jamey Chadwell is following that exact same trajectory. And maybe it doesn't work at the P4 level. Maybe he does fall off, but like Jamey Chadwell has done nothing but one, and he has absolutely earned this opportunity. Frankly, surprised he's still at Liberty this season because he could have left after last year.
One thing with Jamey Chadwell is he has to go to the right league. I think it's got to be ACC, maybe Big 12, SEC. If he goes to the Big 10, I think the culture fit's just going to crush him. I just don't think that's going to work because he has
Yeah.
no Power Five experience, but like the right fit there, like if you went to Vanderbilt, Wake, UNC, South Carolina, uh, there's a couple of other ones like UCF, like these are all jobs I feel that would
Yeah.
fit pretty good for this guy. Who's your number two?
So my number two, I have the prodigy baby, Jeff Traylor.
Yeah.
Again, another guy that I'm surprised wasn't hired in this past cycle, but we talk about, and I honestly, the more I look at it, the more I wonder if he's waiting for one of these Texas jobs to open up. That is not Houston. Like if he's looking at a Baylor, if he's looking at a potentially a Texas Tech, if he's looking at, see what happens at TCU. I'm not saying Sonny Dykes on a hot seat, but at the same time, like if things go really south, he could be. So like just seeing what happens to these Texas programs. But when you talk about someone who can recruit in Texas, like the way he's recruited at UTSA has been astounding. It's truly been astounding, and developing players in that program. So like I just think that this guy has all the connections in the world. He's another guy with a proven track record of success. I mean, like I would want any team that is in that Texas footprint, I would want them absolutely going after Jeff Traylor if I'm a fan of that team.
Yes, I have him on my list. I have him fourth, just
Okay.
because I don't feel UTSA is going to have the season they did ago. I agree with you on the same sort of thing. Like, yes, I thought the Houston job would have been a good fit for him, but maybe there's just too much, chaos there. Biggest city in Texas, so much expectations, biggest booster. Maybe not want to go there. Maybe you want to have. Maybe that's why Willie Fritz took the money grab at this point. God, that team's going to go
Yeah.
2-10 to be absolutely terrible. But like you mentioned, like Baylor, if Baylor opens up, if Texas Tech opens up, if TCU opens up, probably not an A&M or Texas and Austin sort of
Yeah.
candidate, but I'll posit two more places I think could potentially open up that would make sense. You know, Arkansas was in the old Southwest. There's probably the same
Mm,
footprint there too. And then I would also say if Kenny Dillingham just doesn't have it, like Arizona State is another place where I feel like kind of like a San Antonio, like there's just a lot of talent there. Maybe that could work as well. But then again, it's all about the right fit there for Jeff Traylor. But yeah, I'm right there with you.
no, 100%. I'll posit one more that's kind of it's out there, but I think it is definitely a possibility. Let's say Deion Sanders leaves Colorado with his sons. Like let's say he goes and takes another job after there. I think Jeff Traylor's the kind of guy who could actually get Colorado in a program building type of direction, especially now that they have more resources invested in there.
Yeah, he would make it a joke. It's the same sort of thing where like if Ryan Walters wanted to, save face or if Eric Bieniemy wanted an opportunity, Colorado will get somebody good. If Brian Harsin wanted to take over there, those are all fantastic candidates to potentially
Hmm.
replace Coach Prime if it ends after 2 years. So I'll push it with my second one. That'd be Barry Odom at UNLV. He's
Hmm. Yeah.
overqualified here. My biggest concern is it kind of feels like it's Arkansas or bust right now for him.
Yeah. A little bit.
I I can't really think like UCF maybe if Gus leaves, but like I can't think of like the other power forward job that would make a lot of sense from there. Again, he played, I don't know if he played for Gary Pinkel, but like he was a Mizzou like on his staff, replaced him, got
Hmm.
fired from his alma mater. That sucks. Like, but
Hmm.
like he's always kind of chasing that. Maybe, maybe Iowa State if Matt Campbell leaves. That's kind of feels like a good sort of
Ooh.
place
Yeah.
there too. But yeah, again, I think it's a even lesser pool than maybe Jeff Traylor, but it could be wider depending on if we just take our focus. I feel like with Jeff Traylor, it's just like Texas is the sun.
Yeah, no, that's Texas's son for sure. And I have Barry Odom at four, so I'm right there with you. Like I think that the reason I have him at four is everything you just mentioned. Like I think that it's harder to see a natural fit than it is for Traylor and especially for Chadwell. Like I think Chadwell could go like you could rattle off 24 programs where he could make them better, if I'm being real honest with you. And like with Traylor, that lessens a little bit. With Odom, it lessens even further. So I do think that like there is some like trepidation about that, but at the same time, like yeah, he's very clearly already overperforming the UNLV job.
I would totally agree. Who do you have for three?
So for three, Alex Galesh. And we're both high on Alex Galesh. Came over from Tennessee and immediately had USF in a bowl game after they looked completely lost in the wilderness for quite a while under Jeff Scott. So like I think he's proven his chops already, and I think he's only going to continue that. Honestly, the reason I have him at three is because he does need to still prove it. Like he still needs to, put together more than like a bigger sample size, essentially. But like I think that everything we've seen from what we saw with him as the OC at Tennessee and what we saw in year one at USF, like the stock is going way up. Like this is. Buying Apple, like it's already been trending up, but like buying Apple stock in like 2001 or something like that, like it's still going to keep rising.
I would agree. I feel like he's like 1 year away, but certainly trending up there. Like if South has the season you think it's going to be, win about 9 or 10 games,
Yeah.
yeah, you're looking for him potentially going to like. I think I tied him the offseason to South Carolina. I think he could be a fit at Cincinnati.
Ooh.
He's from Ohio native, played Ohio State, although he was born in Russia. No, the USSR, excuse me. Um, Follow me on this. What if, what if he went Sonny Dykes and went to UCF?
I mean, would love it. Honestly, I'd take him at North Carolina. Let's go. Let's ride. Let's have a fun offense in North Carolina. I like Alex Galesh doesn't suffer from what we're talking about with Jeff Traylor and Barry Odom. Like I think that particularly in modern college football, having an offensive mind who runs an offense that just you can honestly install just about anywhere. And I think that's a very big key about Alex Galesh. Like Jamey Chadwell, he's even limited in comparison to Alex Galesh because Jamey Chadwell runs a very specific style of offense. It's kind of like an option based like offense why Grayson McCall was so successful at Coastal Carolina because he can run, but he can also throw a little bit. Alex Galesh, anyone could run that offense if you give them the right install, if you give them like at least a modicum of talent. And so like I think Alex Galesh just kind of has his pick of whatever job he would want to go to when his stock reaches the point where he's going up there.
One thing that serves him as Josh Heupel's greatest disciple. God, that rhymes. It's so cool. This
The
show's so
Hypo
dumb.
Disciples. Oh my God.
The Heupel disciple. That's gonna make some graphic designers my passion at some point.
Oh, for sure. Put Josh Heupel in a
There's
Letterman's jacket up on the cross.
his a Golesh's Letterman's jacket's a straight jacket.
Oh my God.
But it's all about ball security.
That's right.
But I believe he was a tight ends coach at Tennessee, which would probably lead me to believe that his variation of the air raid will be more ground centric. It'll be like Lincoln Riley's, where it's not going to just be like they'll have some teeth to it. And I think he
Mm.
actually cares about defense. And again, he's probably pushing 40, so he's like the right he's in the slot to get that job. Did not have him listed just because I feel he has one more year. My third pick was GJ Kinney there at Texas State. I
Okay.
feel that his is different. I feel like he may go to a bigger G5 job. Like if Memphis opens up, that's a good fit. If South Florida opens up, although he is from Texas, this is only year two. And again, they passed over him at his alma mater, Tulsa, like to go with
Mhm.
Kevin Wilson. No, Ken Wilson. Ken Wilson's the guy at
Ken
Nevada.
Wilson. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kevin Wilson. Kevin Wilson, former Indiana coach, OC at Ohio State. That's the domino thing. Kevin Wilson leaves for it's like Tulsa's done with Philip Montgomery, and then Ryan Day is coaching the Cowboys.
Oh my God, dude. We've got to I think one thing that we need to institute in college football is you remember in like elementary school when you'd have multiple kids with the same first name and you'd have to like get them out there, especially when they're like close or last name, like when names are close, you're like, okay, you're gonna get a nickname. We need to start just like having like a widely accepted thing for that for college football. Because I mean, you talk about Brent Prime, Brent Key when we were talking about the ACC. I was terrified that I was gonna say the wrong Brent whenever I was talking about Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. And now we have, Ken and Kevin Wilson coaching two G5 teams that we have already talked about in the show. Like it's going to be we're gonna get confused at some point.
Well, wait till the Brinchler party. So we got crispy Brent Venables, we got Rendell Lars, Brent Pry, the Beads and the Bees with Brent Key. This is how we do it, and then
Brent Brennan.
volleyball, Brent Brennan, the volleyball master.
Yeah, Jesus. I can't keep up.
Oh, his nickname is Wilson because he's a volleyball. That's going to be even
Oh
more
my
confusing.
God.
But yeah, GJ Kinney could potentially get another job. He could potentially go be a coordinator like for somebody else. I don't know necessarily like what Power Four team he'd be a head coach of this year, but like that could be coming very quickly, particularly if Texas State were to win the Group of Five, which is not out of all the possibility. I mean, hell, Brett McMurphy had them winning it.
Yeah, who could say? No, I had GJ Kennedy as my sleeper, honestly. So, and I think that the big reason I have him as a sleeper is because for right now, it's still a little difficult for me to see him making the jump to Power Four. Kind of the same reason you had with Golesh. Like you need to see it a little bit more, but I don't think it's even necessarily that we need a larger sample size. I think we just need to see his stock grow on a national level. Like if I walked up to like an average college football fan and I said the name GJ Kinney, I almost guarantee you they wouldn't be able to tell me where he coached. And I think like maybe they've heard the name, but they don't know where he coached. And so like I think this year is an opportunity for him with how good we think Texas State is going to be to kind of grow his national star a little bit.
For sure, yes. This would kind of feel like the same sort of thing. So we both had four. Yours was Barry Odom, mine
Mhm.
was Jeff Traylor. Who'd you have for five?
So for five, I went a little wild here. I went Rich Rod.
Okay.
And I think that Rich Rod, I don't think you're gonna hire him at like the top of the power four. Like if we were to see like we saw what happened in Michigan. Let's just be clear about that. And like I think that we know that he is maybe not suited for that. But if you're a lower tier P4 program, if you're a South Carolina, if you're a North Carolina, you're a Wake Forest, you're a I don't know, someone of that ilk, I would take a look at Rich Rod because we know Rich Rod knows how to coach offense. We know he knows how to like close that gap, particularly like somewhere like a Wake Forest. That's intriguing to me because like if Dave Clawson has run his course there, you bring Rich Rod in and maybe he does, rock the boat a little bit because it is Rich Rod. But at the same time, like Wake Forest has had all the success that they've had over the years because of the slow mesh. Maybe it's time to move away from the slow mesh and move into Rich Rod. And yes, that's going to like have a little bit of transition, but I think end of the day, we've seen that a scheme can really close the talent gap in the ACC for a program like Wake Forest. And I think Rich Rod can do that again.
I think the rebranding or like Rich Rod's become not as toxic. I think that's pretty good with Jacksonville State. I like the Wake fit too. And even though I want to see Dave Clawson have like a Hall of Fame career there in Winston-Salem, it may have run its course. But also, I think if he wants to, I think he'd be really good on television. I feel like he's kind of like
Oh
the Chris
yeah.
Peterson analyst role. I think he'd be phenomenal. Like kind of like really serious about it. I know your guy Gene Chizik was not like a great coach, but he was really good on TV. So like it's the same. Yeah.
He was better on TV than he was at coordinating a defense, I can assure you.
Yes, I liked Rich Rod. My fifth pick was Ryan Silverfield there with Memphis. I feel that
Okay,
like
yeah.
this is going to be really good. Again, you're kind of wondering like what's the next step? Okay, if Mark Stoops were to go to Iowa, maybe he goes to Kentucky because Liam Cohen doesn't seem like he's coming back. Maybe you go to Cincinnati if Scott Satterfield is as bad as you think he's going to be. You look across the board again, UCF if Gus moves, that job is very appealing for a lot of people. Trying to think where else. Maybe go to Vanderbilt if Clark Lee's run its course. There's opportunities there. I don't know. I think Brian Silverfield could have a spectacular year. And again, people that we've seen Justin Fuente and we've seen Mike Norvell have tremendous success there. You know, it seems like a pretty good thing where like you can at least have some success right away. Fuente did at Voluntech before he became the Mark Helfrich of the Appalachian Mountains.
That absolutely, dude. Yeah, Fuente flamed out in a hurry, but no, you're absolutely right, and I think Silverfield is going to get a chance. Like we've seen the Memphis coaching pipeline be fruitful, so like why not look at the guy who's primed to have more success at Memphis? Like it's been a proven formula. Like we look at what Florida State's doing with Mike Norvell, and like we've seen it at different levels of the P4 as well. So I think that's a really good call by you. The one other one I wanted to mention who wasn't on a sleeper, but I just wanted to talk about just for a second is Chuck Martin. And like I didn't have him on my list, not because I don't think he's qualified. I just think he doesn't want to leave Miami, Ohio. Like that's kind of where I'm at this point. Like he's an older guy, but like he seems like explicitly content with the Red Hawks. And so like I didn't consider him because I don't think he wants to leave.
No, it's kind of the same thing with Frank Solich there at Ohio U. It's like, oh, I got
Yeah.
it made, baby. I'm doing everything I want. Uh, I do feel your least favorite guy, Jason Candle, will leave at some point just because of out of like it'll be like some Satterfield, like, okay, you need to go, bud. But I do think very highly of Chuck Martin.
Yeah, I didn't mention Jason Candle on principle.
Tough but merited. uh
I
my my
we
sleep,
got to have our morals. We got to have our principles. That's all. That's all we can have.
you can't hold a candle in this November rain, and this is false start. My sleeper pick was Mike Bloomgren. Maybe it's because I'm in a Rice house right now. Like this is a
Yeah.
very Texas transplants here in Buckhead, but Mike Bloomgren was a secret sauce there at Stanford. If Troy Taylor doesn't take, I'd hire him immediately.
Yeah.
I feel like you could get him at a place like an academic power. Like if it hits the fan with David Braun there in Northwestern, that's a very good person as well to have. Again, Wake's a very good school. I think Duke made a fantastic hire with Manny Diaz. I mean, if you want to cross the lines and Cal, Justin Fuente, Wilcox, they merge. Justin Wilcox becomes more Justin Fuente. Yeah, I think that like Mike Bloomgren could go to like an academic power here in the P4 and have tremendous success. I think he knows exactly what to do. Taking Rice about as far as it can go, but yeah, I think he's got one more big job left in on his resume. I just don't know where that's going to be. Maybe it's this year or next, but yeah, I've got my eyes on him.
No, I think that's a really good call, especially if we see Rice take another step forward. Like they were a much improved team last year, and I think if they take another step forward, then I think that's absolutely right. And again, we've seen what Stanford has looked like since Bloomgren left. Like we've seen that it's just taken a step back. He was the secret sauce there, so why not get the secret sauce for yourself?
Definitely. I don't know if rice is a secret sauce and Bill Kiper's favorite dessert, but we're gonna have a slice of pumpkin pie.
That's right, baby. No rice in the pumpkin pie.
Just all filling, no killer. All filling, no
That's right.
killer. I don't want to waste my time to become a casualty of society. This is false start. Yes, we are going to list off five people, five college football prospects who could be NFL draft like day two picks essentially, and a sleeper. So I think we're both going to start with the same number one. That's the guy probably there from Boise State, the running back, Ashton Jeanty or Janti. I struggle how to say his last name.
It's actually super simple. I actually went and looked at a pronunciation guide because, as we know, I struggle with those. It's just Genty. So very easy as the simplest way to possibly say that. But yeah, Ashton Genty. I mean, of the guys in who are draft prospects out of the group of five, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I have three guys written down because there were only three that I saw as like potential top 100 picks when I was looking through this stuff. So I didn't go all the way to five, but Ashton Genty legitimately has a chance to be the best running back in this class, in this draft class. Like he is unbelievably good. I would love to be like a fly on the wall to see how much money a Power Four program offered him to transfer this year because he could start for most Power Four teams as a running back. He is unbelievably talented, unbelievably shifty, has that burst that you want. And like when I talk about what I think Boise State is capable of this year in the Mountain West and kind of just running away with that conference, it's because it's largely because of Ashton Genty. Like I do not see teams in the conference being able to match up with this level of talent. It's going to look like I don't know if you've ever watched the 30 for 30, the best that ever was about Marcus Dupree at Oklahoma,
Yes,
and
I
they had
did.
his high school highlights on there. That's what Ashton Genty looks like sometimes playing in the Mountain West. Like it's that much of a difference.
When I think of Boise State running backs, I think of the muscle hamster, Doug Martin, but instead of
That's
the
right,
muscle
baby.
hamster, it's the monster hamster, or a bigger than a hamster, maybe a guinea pig, so the gorilla pig.
A gorilla pig, yes, sir.
Honestly, his nickname is Man Bear Pig. That's what he is.
A man bear pig, and you always got to be scared of the man bear pig, even if you're Al Gore.
Yeah. Superhero.
Super thorough.
Remember when his wife tried to put like the label on all the CDs and stuff and it didn't take? And D Snyder's like, you can go to hell, woman.
Get out of here with that.
And we're not going to take it. We're certainly not going to take it away from Ashton Ginty. So that's good. I think my second one, I had a Colorado State wide receiver, Torrey Horton. Again, Colorado
Okay.
State. has had a very good history with wide receivers. Obviously, Michael Gallup, your Cowboys played there. Rashard Higgins won, started with the Browns, won a Blitnikoff there. They kind of know what they're doing there. Again, anytime I see a Colorado State wide receiver, I'm pretty excited about that. I think he could be like a third round pick.
No, 100%. I have him as the third guy on my list of three that I made. And I honestly, I would probably have him at two if the like what I when I was watching a little bit, like I didn't do a full deep dive of film, but I watched a little bit and read up on these guys a little bit, asked prospects what people are seeing. And his speed, I think the athletic traits might not quite be like top 50 type of potential, but like everything else is. Like he's a very polished route runner. You watch him and like he abused Colorado last year in that game where that was much closer than it probably should have been. But like didn't matter if it was Travis Hunter or one of the other Colorado DBs. Like he was absolutely putting them in the blender constantly. Had a monster game in that matchup. And like I think that says a lot about who Torrey Horton is. Like he is just a well-rounded wide receiver who knows how to get open, knows how to like work a defensive back, and then has just glue for hands, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely feel pretty confident about that. Who was your number two?
My number two is a team that we're certainly not going to mention at any other point in this, and that's from East Carolina. But Siobhan Ravel, the cornerback there, he's 6'2", 190, and he had, I think, when I was looking up his stats, I think 14 pass breakups last year. And when you're doing that for a 2-10 team, like I feel like I'm surprised this guy is not at another program because of how bad East Carolina was last year, honestly. And the fact that we don't see them being really much of anything this year either. Like the Pirates are going through it right now, but he is an absolute stud. Like we've seen over the past few years, like defensive back play just travels. Like if you can play defensive back, you can play at the highest level. It doesn't matter if you're coming from the G5. We saw Quinyon Mitchell be drafted pretty highly in the first round this year. Sauce Gardner is maybe the best cornerback in the NFL right now coming out of Cincinnati. Like we've seen these G5 guys come in and like I mean there's a laundry list of other ones, but we've seen these G5 guys come in the defensive backfield and really make an impact. And I think Revel might be the next guy to do that.
I had him third. It's like, 2 and 10, 2, 10. That's X. So you're like,
That's right.
you're breaking up the pass there. But yeah, anytime a player that like stands out from ECU, like they usually end up having a pretty impactful career or staying power.
Yeah.
You talk about what Jeff Blake back in the day, Chris Johnson at running back, Justin Hardy had a pretty good run there with the Falcons there during their peak under Dan Quinn at receiver. Like
Zay
Gardner
Jones.
Minshew, Zay Jones, yes, Zay Jones, Gardner Minshew played there a little bit. Yeah, they've had when they have players that like rise to prominence and stuff. ECU again, a lot of talent there in North Carolina. You would know that when ECU is popping, it's a good time. Dowdy Ficklen's different from in terms of like a home atmosphere when they're good. It feels like there's not much difference between that with going out at Carter Finley there in Raleigh. Like that's a vibe that people love. People love that team.
The only difference is that Greenville, North Carolina is a wild scene and a wild place to be. So it's like, it's a little bit more of a party atmosphere. But no, you're absolutely right. When ECU has it thumping, like it's an atmosphere for sure. One of the best in the G5.
Yes, definitely. We had the same top three. I'll give you my four, five, and sleeper real quickly. Jacksonville State guard Clay Webb. Again, if Jacksonville
Mhm.
State has a season, they're going to be doing. You're always looking for like an interior offensive lineman, the Quinn Miners of the world. Maybe Clay Webb is that guy. Harold Fannin, the tight end for Bowling Green. I think with Scott Leffler with the
Mhm.
season they're going to be having. Again, Mac school, you could probably do a lot of things. They'll know how to block up there. So if you can block, you can play in the NFL. And then my sleeper was Liberty Flames quarterback Caden Salter. Like again,
Yeah.
you're looking essentially for the Mike White who got cut or the Jake Haener of the world who didn't get cut. You're looking for that guy at the G5 level. Maybe not necessarily again, he's kind of maybe like Michael Pratt was at Tulane, where like he's already on the national radar. If Liberty has a season
Mhm.
that we think they're capable of, he could be a fourth or fifth round pick. Again, he had P4 talent there too. So that's kind of where I was at with the draft. And again, we got to see the seasons play out. We got to see the combine. There'll be way more guys than this getting drafted out of the G5, but like these are guys we've got our eyes on for sure.
No, 100%. And like I will say that this exercise was more difficult than I imagined it would be. And it's the transfer portal's fault, man. Like number like 1B behind Ashton Genty on this list would have probably been CJ Daniels, who was at Liberty last year, Caden Salter's number one target, but now he's at LSU. So like, that's kind of what we're dealing with in the world of modern college football. And it's an unfortunate byproduct of what I really uncovered kind of diving into the G5 a little bit for this.
Yeah, you lose like Daquan Finn would have been up there too.
Yeah.
Ulysses Bentley, the fourth. I don't know if he's draft eligible, but that's again another a similar type of guy. Uh, you have players like that all the time. It's frustrating, but these teams to survive, they have to be very creative with figuring like under recruited guys, and coaching's so important. And that's why so many people monitor the group of five. It's not like it's the minor leagues because it's not, but it's like you look at this and like, okay, who can make it work here? It's
Yeah.
better than like your handpicked coordinator shaking hands and kissing babies there, like in the because you're who your daddy is, and then you get smoked because you don't know how to do anything. Like these people that
Welcome to
kind of
Lubbock.
yes, sir, guns up, baby.
That's right. Give me a tortilla.
Give me a tortilla. What do you want in there? Just give me it. How free do you want it?
That's right.
And that poses another question. We're gonna go to the playoffs. You're kidding me. So who's our pick to win the group of five and get the 12 seed? They're gonna be the 12 seed, right?
Yeah, I don't see a world where they're not the 12 seed. I think that maybe at some point in the future we may see it higher than the 12 seed, but it ain't this year. But I have Boise State. Like again, I just think that they have the clearest path to me to make it happen. Like as high as I am on Memphis in the AAC, I think the strength of the AAC is down this year. I think the Mountain West is a better conference at the top. So like that's more quality wins that the committee should rate higher for Boise State if they go through and run the slate in the Mountain West. Liberty, like Cuse is the worst Power Five league. Like Liberty's not going to get that benefit of the doubt. So if Boise State has a comparable record, like even if Liberty's 12-0 and Boise State's 11-1, I can see Boise State absolutely getting that nod. The Sun Belt we talked about, I see that beating them up. And if I'm being real honest, I don't see a MAC team ever getting to the college football playoff. Like that's not. I love MAC. I love MAC football, but like I'm just being a realist about this. I just don't see a MAC team ever getting there just because A, that conference tends to beat itself up, and then B, like they just don't get the recognition that I think at times they deserve. Not always, but at times they deserve.
Yeah, MAC is really challenging. You need a perfect storm. You essentially need what 2015, 16 Western Michigan, the ascending coach, the two-star players. You've got to have like your Corey Davis and who was it on defense? Was Julian Davenport on that team? No, no lineman.
No, he
They,
went
they,
to
they, no, they had a couple of guys, not Julian
yeah,
Davenport. They had
they had two tackles, and I can't remember Taylor Moton, the dude for
yes.
Carolina. Yes.
Yes. So you have to have that. You have to go undefeated, and you got to be like the rest of it's got to pull back.
Hmm.
I have Liberty going because I think 12-0 with a quality win over App State gets them there. And again, I considered Boise State, Memphis for like the other two. I don't think Miami, Ohio, or Texas State are right there, but like
Hmm.
those are kind of, I would venture to guess like my G5 champion is going to be some combination of Liberty, Memphis, or Boise State. And I just
Yeah.
feel that like the 12-0, the fact they did it last year with the coach, with the quarterback, the winnable conference, that could do it. But yeah, I could totally see a situation where Boise State could get in as 11-1. So yeah, I kind of feel like we're on the same sort of wavelength with the same three or four teams that could do it.
No, absolutely. I was gonna fully agree with you. Like I think it's actually a pretty thin pool of teams that I could see doing this based on who we think is going to win the conference. Again, this is the G5. Chaos is like in its nature. So like, is there a chance that a team that we haven't even talked about today ends up as the G5 champion? Absolutely. That's absolutely in the cards. Like we never know what's going to happen when it comes to the G5. Like even when we thought like I think the one year where we were able to predict what was going to happen with the G5 was the year Cincinnati made the college football playoff because they were just so far ahead, head and shoulders above the rest of the G5.
Yeah, man, like they played Georgia close in the Peach Bowl, and they had pretty much everybody coming back.
Yeah.
I feel like the 14 year with Brian Harsin to Boise, like I feel like that was pretty obvious too. And then I think there may have been a couple of Houston teams there with Tom Herman. But again, like it happens like once every 3 or 4 years. But who do you think, just funny, like who would be the funniest team to win the group of five? Like that like could like we're not saying like the worst team. We're not saying Akron's gonna do it, but like what would be like hilarious? And this effing team is the 12 seed.
I mean, honestly, I think it would be Jacksonville State just to have the Rich Rod conversation in the college football playoff. And like, I'm sure that like someone on like a national pundit level would absolutely talk themselves into Rich Rod like winning a playoff game. Like, that's absolutely something that would happen.
Dude, for me it's Hawaii.
Oh my
Yes.
God, yeah. I would need
It,
Hawaii to be a 5 through 8 seed though. So someone had to play their first round college football playoff game on the Big Island. Like, hell yes, brother.
welcome to hell, aka the Chin Complex.
That's right. We've got December football in Hawaii. Let's ride.
You got Timmy Chang, Gene Jones will come over there. You got the ghost of Colt Brennan. Yeah, and Dino Babers, I don't know what he's doing, but he's a Hawaii alum, so have him come over there too. Why not?
Just have them there. Why not?
Okay, and we're gonna do our fifth topic with some do Host or do Host. I'm gonna get the question wrong. It's in my head right now. Can you ask me it, please? Because like I'm gonna answer this wrong.
Yeah, so I got you. Duhast or Duhast Bueller. Can a G5 team ever win a college football playoff game?
Uh, Two parts. So this year, do Haas two S's. It's not happening. The only way it's happening is if Penn State was the 5 seed and Hawaii goes over there and beats their ass.
Of course, yeah, it's James Franklin.
But I mean, it'd have to be a perfect storm. Like you would need Liberty or you would need Boise to go to like, I mean, I don't think you're going to beat Notre Dame in South Bend. I don't think you're going to beat Texas and Austin. I don't think you're going to beat Ohio State or Oregon and the Shoe or Liquid Sunshine. But it'd have to be the perfect storm there. And I just feel like with the because we've got two serious national championship contenders in both the SEC and the Big Ten. We're talking like 5 and 6 seeds or seven, if you will. Like four of the top seven teams in the country will be from those two teams. It's just not in the cards with the 5-12. But I will say in the future, though, it is possible to host 1S because good coaching prevails.
Hmm.
And what I would think is like, let's say, for example, with Ohio State. Again, Ohio State's way too talented this year, but we
Yeah.
think that they're undercoached. And there could be a cross section there where like, you have the Utah with Urban Meyer beating Alabama, or you have Boise State beating Oklahoma. We've seen G5 teams beat what UCF beat Baylor. Like it happens. So like it's
Hmm.
essentially the same sort of thing. I just don't think it's happening this year. But in the next 3 to 4 under this format, I'm not ruling it out.
So I'm gonna go Duhas two S's just across the board. And it goes back to what I was talking about with draft prospects. I agree with you that I think we're going to see G5 teams in the future, not specifically this year, especially because like we suspect that the G5 team is going to be the 12 seed this year. That may be different in future years, but like we suspect they're going to be the 12 seed this year. And the 5 or 6 seed is most likely either going to be Texas or Oregon or Ohio State or Georgia, whoever loses in the SEC championship or the Big Ten championship. That's probably who the G5 team is going to be matched up with. That's not an advantageous matchup. The talent advantage, the talent gap is going to be too great. We might see that, pull back a little bit, but at the same time, like I think that a G5 coach can give a power program a scare, but like as we see the talent pool just kind of be drained towards the P4 continuously with the transfer portal, I just have a really hard time seeing them get over the hump. Like I think what might be coloring that perception quite a bit is watching Liberty against Oregon last year. Like Liberty came out in the scripted plays, they were keeping up with Oregon, but when we went off script, it was okay, Oregon's just going to beat you into oblivion because we have the dudes and you don't. And I think that more often than not moving forward, that's just simply going to be the case to where coaching is only going to be able to take you so far. You've got to have the dudes to get the coaching to make the coaching work. And I'm worried that as we move forward with the G5, that the dudes just aren't going to be there.
That's a fantastic point. I remember like during bowl season, you were hyped about Liberty, Oregon, about the prospects of Jamey Chadwell and seeing what Caden Salter could do. And that was probably just eye-opening for you. It's like, yeah, it's not even close. I guess your assertion of this is just like maybe I overlooked this. Like I'm sitting there thinking like maybe Boise State under Spencer Danielson has the talent of, say, the 2020 Iowa State Cyclones with Brock Purdy, with Charlie Kolar, with Brees Hall, where like that team is really ridiculously good, well coached. Maybe we're not going to see that in the group of five because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at Boise State, like I might even be Duhas 1S if I thought Boise State was going into this with Taylon Green, who was a great quarterback for them, but he's at Arkansas now. And so like even Boise State has lost some in that capacity in terms of the high-end talent that we saw a year ago. So I just worry about what that's going to look like in the future with the way we're seeing this talent just be pulled to the P4 level.
I know it's unfortunate. I mean, I want to be more optimistic here, but I don't know. Let's be more optimistic here now with some just like Nevacain. Yes, we're gonna
There we
finish the
go.
show with the trifecta. This is the last one where it's like person, places, or things. So on
Mhm.
Thursday, we are going to be doing just like Novocaine with Fallout Boy with picking each a game. And for now, we're going to do coaches, persons, places, or things with with three of them. So 18 Phil Collins songs.
18, baby. We're going deep in the discography.
18, and I like it. Okay. I'm gonna pull this up because this is about to like absolutely break me. I feel like we're teetering on okay, let's start with the first band he was in. Let's start with Genesis, who is in the land of confusion.
That's Coral Gables, Florida, is the land of confusion. I don't know how if you're a Miami fan, you don't look at this team and be like, "Oh, we're winning 10 games easy every year." And then Mario Cristobal comes out there and you win 7 or 8. And you're like, "What the hell just happened? How did we get here?" And yeah, so Coral Gables, Florida, the land of confusion.
I know he kind of has he kind of grew up in the Reagan era of the United States. So yeah, I get that. I have Mario coming a little bit later, but I went with the guy who might be asleep. That's your boy Mac Brown.
Damn it. Yes, fair.
Yes, that's fair. Your biggest pitch here. Follow You, Follow Me, probably one of Genesis's first big hits, probably post Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I went with Jonathan Smith in East Lansing. Hey everyone in Oregon State, follow you, follow me. Let's go on to East Lansing. Like you look at this Michigan State roster, and basically any meaningful player who's not currently in the draft and isn't Damian Martinez is now in Michigan State. Like it's just a wild to look at this roster turnover that they had with Jonathan Smith coming over.
Let's go Beavs, and if a Beaver and a Spartan was forged fused together, that'd be terrifying.
That'd be a Barton, baby. Barton Simmons shouts to Vandy.
No wonder the oat milk is so delicious.
That's right.
I went with Lincoln Riley for the same thing with quarterbacks. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who's in too deep?
Bro, you know it's our boy Joe McGuire. He's in way too deep. He gets out there on Saturdays. He's like, wait, I got to coach these boys now. I can't just shake their hand and walk away. No, you got to coach the football team, brother.
I love that. I've got Joe McGuire coming up in just a little bit. I went with Brent Venables with that contract that he got because that's just bad news bears right now. With I can't believe Joe Castiglione paid him that. When you were dealing with across the pond NC State podcast issues, I did the math. Joe Castiglione has been the AD of Oklahoma for like more than a fifth of the time that Oklahoma's been a state. It's
Oh my
unbelievable.
God. Wild stuff.
You may be a little bit better at history than the geography, but that's
Just a little bit.
that's just a little bit. There must be some misunderstanding. There must be some kind of mistake. Who would say that?
That's Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. There must be some sort of misunderstanding. I was here to coach a football team, and what you've given me is a big pile of poo. Like this is not good at all.
You can't play to win the games with a big steaming pile of poo.
That's right. That's what I'm saying, man.
Here's your team. This is just bar mess outside of Tempe. People throwing up in their purses left and right.
Oh my God.
Uh, I may start be wearing a lot more Sun Devil stuff here at some point. I feel like I got to support them, and she supports me, so that's great. I went with Jimbo Fisher bargaining to keep his job.
Yes, there must be some sort of misunderstanding.
They must be
Oh my God.
Why does my key card not work? Uh, who can't dance? Who can't sing? The only thing about them is the way that they walk. Who's that?
Dude, you know it's Brian Kelly. Come on. I don't even have to explain it. It's Brian Kelly.
He's just getting started.
He's just getting started, baby, but he sure as ass can't dance.
He can't parallel park a car. That's why he gets Matt LaFleur and Robert Saleh to valet for him.
That's right.
I don't know, like it's that Po Boys just getting started, and then the Hurt Rock Me Like a Hurricane game. The canon for this man is unbelievable.
It's truly immaculate.
I went with Joe McGuire because I don't think he can do anything except recruit. The
Facts. Facts.
last one for Genesis, who is throwing it all away?
In all seriousness, this is Dabo Sweeney, man. Like,
Yeah,
he is throwing it all away. Everything he built at Clemson, he is actively pissing it down the drain right now. It's tough to see.
that's who I had to. Very obvious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't realize how obvious it was till I was like, I mean, like, there's not even an answer that comes close to that, honestly.
I mean, it would have been Lincoln Riley, but I already used him for something else.
Right.
So that's kind of the same. That's kind of the
Right.
same sort of thing. Moving on to his solo career. Who is having another day in paradise?
Dude, it's Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops has the best job in the country, brother. Like, he just goes out there, he wins 8 games, and everyone is super happy about it. And like, if he wants to go to Iowa whenever that job opens up, he's got it made in the shade, man. Mark Stoops is living the best life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's one of the highest paid coaches in the SEC at this point because of the bonuses he's racked up by winning 8 games a year. It's truly unbelievable. He's crushing life right now.
Who has it better than Mark Stoops? That
That's
would be
right.
the combination of Jim Harbaugh and Sherrod Moore. The song's a little more tongue in cheek. It's about probably people living on the street looking for garbage, but they're another day in paradise saying this is paradise, but it's actually hell. So yeah, Jim Harbaugh's like, this is paradise, and you could eat some leftover Beijing beef there out of the can. That's where I met my wife.
Oh my God. That's where I met my wife. Oh my God.
That's awful. I'm so sorry I said that. Who cares? Oh my God. The next one from his solo career. Who's an easy lover? Who's gonna hold on you for leaving? Who's that? Who's easy lover? Gotta love that
It's
song.
Hugh Freeze, and I will not be elaborating.
That came on in the Irish bar we were at yesterday, and we love that. It's not Jeff Collins, it's not Phil Collins, Philadelphia Collins. I figured the guy that's gonna break it down, boys. This is absolutely Gus Malzahn dance
Oh,
song.
absolutely, dude. Oh my God.
He knows all the dance moves that Phil Collins and Phil Bailey of Earth, Wind, and Fire had. Yes.
Oh my
Um,
God.
this next one's going to destroy you, but who's got against all odds? Who do you need to take a look at now?
Against all odds. Take a look at me now. I'm going Chip Kelly, man. Chip Kelly is
Yes.
in a national championship conversation now because he bailed on UCLA to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Take a look at him now, Mom. He's getting it done.
That's really good. This is going to destroy you. So the other guys, the part where Alan Gamble and Terry Hoyt's going to the bed and they're talking, they're playing the song in the background, saying like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do to basically bring down David Ershon." That's Eli Drinkwitz and Antonio Banderas under the bed.
Oh my God.
Eli's
Yes,
Eli's talking
absolutely.
about how he could beat Alabama, and Antonio's like, "Bulldog."
Bulldog, baby. Bulldog.
Your favorite Phil Collins song, "One More Night." Who's that?
One more night, man. That's Lincoln Riley for me. They want one more night of USC being in glory. They want one more night of USC and Lincoln Riley being a good football coach. They want one more night of anything this song is Phil Collins like begging for one more night. And I feel like that's every USC fan base. Like, please, God in heaven, Lincoln Riley, give us one more night.
Lincoln Riley could have been a bunch of these, but he wasn't that for me. I went with Scott Satterfield for the same sort of thing. He could probably sing it too. He can act, he can sing, he can dance, he cannot coach football. And this is false start.
That's right.
In the Air Tonight. I love this song because it's Georgia. They always play this before kickoff and everything. Who's Phil Collins's signature song?
Yeah, so I went with Virginia Tech and little tongue in cheek, Inner Sandman, nighttime. But you can feel in the air tonight, man, in Blacksburg. Like something good is happening with Brent Price. Something good is happening with the Hokies. So that's Blacksburg, Virginia right now. You can feel it in the air tonight.
I love that. I went with Steve Sarkeesian. I have to explain. So, no touching. So, do 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 do. He'll slug someone in the face like Mike Tyson in The Hangover. And I'll just leave it at this. He'll watch somebody out there in the distance and not help them, and I'll just leave it at that.
No, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, don't want you to have to edit that last part out, but that would, yeah, he would totally do that.
Oh,
Okay, we're good.
100%. No, we're leaving it vague enough. We're fine.
Okay, and then Take Me Home. Who's that? I love this song.
Take me home. I'm going with my boy Jamey Chadwell. Take me home. Take me away from Lynchburg, Virginia. Take me to the Carolinas, baby. We need to get Jamey Chadwell coaching in the Carolinas. I preferably Chapel Hill.
I love that. I went Mario Cristobal. So in Mr. Robot, the guy Scott Knowles was the CTO. They basically made him the puppet puppet leader of E Corp, and then F Society with Robbie Malek, his underground thing with Christian Slater and all them. They made him wear this mask, and it's like, I need you to withdraw uh, $7 million and light it on fire, and they do it to this song, and that's Mario Cristobal sitting there in a
Dude,
sitting there,
absolutely.
sitting there in some park or something, just looking like a buffoon in the rain, except it's on fire.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then finally, we got to go to Tarzan. Two worlds.
Two worlds. That is Bobby Petrino and Sam Pittman, baby. Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas has two worlds colliding right now, like apes and man. Yeah, my God, what a world we're living in when those two are on the same coaching staff.
We got cats and dogs living together.
Our pets' heads are falling off. Jesus.
I went with Deion Sanders because we live in a different world than he does.
Dude, 100% we do.
You'll be in my heart. Who's that?
That this is a personal one for me. We're going Mac Brown. You know what? Mac will always be in my heart. He stabilized the North Carolina football program when it needed stabilizing in a big way. Came back, returned, and got the Tar Heels cooking again. But brother, we're done here. Like we gotta move on.
I should have gone with Mike Leach to be sentimental, but I decided to be an ass about this. And I went with Mike and Gator Gundy. He's dancing with his turtle.
Oh my God. Yes.
You could imagine like Gundy coming over there on a boat, like in some sort of like Victorian era, like safari thing. And he's riding on Gator the tortoise with a machete, chopping down like vines and stuff.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Who is the son of man?
To me, this was Eli Drinkwitz, bro. I don't know if you remember when this song plays in the movie Tarzan, but it's like a montage of him like growing up and like becoming a man. And I feel like that's what we're watching with Eli. Like Eli is becoming the alpha nerd before our eyes and becoming the son of man.
Since I already used Eli, I went with a very obvious one. This is the reason we didn't do No Son of Mine by Genesis because it's the same thing. That would be Brian Ferentz. Just I don't have to really explain that.
Oh my God.
He's growing up in the children's hospital and he's still there.
That's right.
Hey Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Who's trashing the camp? They had one with Rosie O'Donnell and then NSYNC sing it later.
You gotta love it. No, I went with PJ Fleck, who just seems to be making a huge mess at Minnesota before he heads on out of here. Yeah, he's trashing the camp up there.
I went with no, the two more people. It was Dylan Raiola and Matt Rule just making the trash of the camp. Dylan Raiola looking like the Patrick Mahomes you have at home, and Matt Rule becoming less and less likable by the nanosecond. Yeah, they're making the N on that helmet in Nebraska stand for knowledge, all right.
The end for knowledge, baby.
Okay, we got two more. Strangers Like Me. Who's
Oh,
that?
Dude, that's the Colorado Buffaloes, baby. They're walking around fall camp and they're like, who is this man? I've never seen this teammate I have now before in my life. Just hitting the transfer portal so hard. It's a bunch of strangers and Shador Sanders playing together.
This is the one that says, "I want to know, can you show me?"
Yes.
Um, that's Justin Wilcox looking over at the ACC. It's like, man, I want to go coach somewhere where people actually care.
If I'm in the Atlantic Coast Conference, I would prefer to be on the Atlantic Coast.
Finally, an instrumental because there weren't a lot of songs with lyrics on the list here, but the title of this is too good. Moves like an ape, looks like a man. Who do you have for this?
Bro, you know I got Biff Poggi down for this. Come on.
You just seem to wear sleeves. Are you kidding me?
Moves like an ape. Honestly, kind of looks like an ape, but also looks like a man. We'll add that qualifier in there.
I'll finish just the brief story time with Bueller. So my best friend in high school, his nickname is Erms the Ape, and he looked like he just jacked wrestler guy, big buff Persian dude, and he made like a mouse pad and he superimposed like his face on a ape, and somebody goes, "Is that Lou Ferrigno?"
Oh my God. You gotta help me sell the Ferrigno estate, man.
And since I couldn't do Lou Ferrigno, I went with the next best thing in college football. That'd be Luke Fickle.
Yes, absolutely. This one was really like, who's the biggest meathead that we can think of in college football?
If this would have been NFL, it would have been Dan freaking Campbell, man.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Ah, I can't believe we did that, man. That was insane. Keeping pretty good time here today. But this was episode 103 of Fall Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter or the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB Fall Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. We did a reaction show after Florida State, Georgia Tech this past week with 3 yards and a cloud of punt. Go in Marty Ball. That show is people are loving that, and we're going to be doing it again after Texas A&M and Notre Dame. We'll be doing it after the essentially the ABC primetime game, so to speak,
Mhm.
is kind of what the plan is. The upside of it's too good. You guys have been incredible. Yeah, that was so much fun, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's only going to get better from here. Like we obviously only talked about Florida State and Georgia Tech because it was the only game that truly mattered on in week 0. Week 1, there's a lot of games that matter. So I'm excited for where that's going to go even more going forward.
I know, man. That's it, and that's all. And this is False Start.